You talked about this idea of being an executive of the now and the future. And I'd like you to just, again, touch on that again and how important that's been for you in your career. And then maybe talk about when that became important for you and how you've been able to navigate, again, a 20 plus year at ESPN and now in this executive leadership role of sports marketing vice president.
Yeah, I just think generally companies go through probably every 7 to 8, 9, 10, whatever it is. There's this stretch where a company overall has to go through a sense of transition and innovation to keep growing their business, right? And what happens during that transition is that, as executives, we have to ultimately sort of see, hey, do we want to be part of that type of transition? And do we want to play an active role in it? And the way I see it is that there's essentially a decision to be made, right? Because the simplified version of it is change is coming, right? And how am I going to adapt to that change? And am I going to be comfortable with that change? And there's a couple ways you can react, right? Change can be really difficult on people, or change can be an opportunity. And I've seen throughout my career is when there's been an element of change, when there's been an element of transformation or transition, that's always been an opportunity for me to grow my career, right? And also, I think for executives overall, it also allows you to kind of redefine and reinvent yourself, right? And which ultimately, I think it's important as you think about a 20-year career, is that reinvention without having the sort of the major kind of be oh my God, I went out to do this and you have to really think about how you reinvent within the company that you're working with, and then what that reinvention means and how does that continue to position you in a place of influence, in a place of the right sort of growth. So that's the way I've sort of seen it, is anytime I've made the decision myself to be hey, I'm going to be an executive of the now and the future, and I'm going to play a real positive, force and role, even though it might not necessarily be great for me right now. But I think if I play it right, it will be great for me in a year, right? It will be great for me in 2 years, because ultimately careers are all about increasing your ceiling, right? So we all start with a ceiling in our career that is finite. Let's say it's a mountaintop. And yes, you can get promoted vertically, right? And you get that promotion after promotion. I always sort of talk about this as be wary of the vertical prison, is that you get promoted to the place where you hit your ceiling and all of a sudden you're there's nowhere to go, right? You haven't developed extra capacity. You have this title, but strangely enough, you feel in a less influential place in your career and in a less impactful place. And so what I really believe is you want to combine the right level of vertical growth with well-timed horizontal moves, which ultimately increase your ceiling. Why? One, you develop more capacity and skill set, right? Two, you show you can solve other problems other than the problem that you've been working on. Three, you become more valuable to a different set of people, right, than the folks that you've been currently working on. And four, it shows the company that you can be one of the people that they can count on to help either solve difficult things or help troubleshoot or help sort of grow a business that might not necessarily be as thought through, but you can be a guy that can deal with ambiguity, can deal with sort of this change, and then and go from there. So in a way, it can make you more valuable. And because you've added all this other stuff, now your mountaintop increases, your ceiling increases. And now you can go a little bit, sort of higher. And so that's kind of what I think a lot about is this idea of, making sure, and that's where the now and the future, and is it's all about increasing sort of your ceiling of where your career can go.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. This segment is brought to you by Salesforce. Salesforce brings marketing and engagement together If you want to learn more, head over to salesforce.com/marketing. And please subscribe to this channel for more marketing insights from the world's best marketing leaders across the Fortune 500 and beyond.